Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cinema Wave podcast here at the Culture Wave Media Network. And today we're going to be discussing the 2025 movie calendar at a glance. These are the movies that have already been scheduled for the year 2025. We're going to discuss some of the bigger ones that are coming out, some other ones that we might be excited for, and a few that we know are coming out in 2025, but they don't have a spot on the calendar yet. This is going to be a separate video than our most anticipated list, but I am one of your hosts for this episode. My name is Darian Scalamoni. I am joined this time by Liz Seiko.
Hello.
As well as Vinny Albano.
Hello, hello.
So we're going to start at the top. We're going to go to January, which is usually the dumping ground for a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And some of them that come out are also the holdovers from the 2024 award season. But the list I have here, like there's some on here that like January 10th, The Last Showgirl is going wide, but it's not on this list because it's technically a 2024 movie. So we're not going to be discussing those movies like The Brutalist, all those things. They're technically 2024 releases because they were released at film festivals earlier that year. These are movies that are debuting in 2025, okay? So just listing out some of the big ones. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera is on January 10th. Wolfman, January 17th. Cameron Diaz makes her return to acting with Netflix is back in action, alongside Jamie Foxx and Andrew Scott and Kyle Chandler and Glenn Close in an action movie on the 17th. Wish You Were Here, Julia Stiles' directorial debut was also that day. Then we have Mel Gibson's Flight Risk with Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Dockery and Topher Grace. We have a movie called Presence that's directed by Steven Soderbergh coming out. A Star Trek film titled Section 31. Inheritance and You're Cordially Invited, which is a streaming film with Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell. And the last one I've been seeing a lot of trailers for is Companion with Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, Harvey Guillen. An interesting looking movie to say the least. So not a lot sticks out to me in this month. Nothing I'm really overly excited about. Some I might not even see in the theaters this month. But is there anything for either of you guys that we've seen just based on January?
Well, there's two that you actually didn't name that kind of are sticking out to me.
Okay.
The first one is One of Them Days, which it stars Keke Palmer, SZA, Maude Apatow. I love Keke Palmer. She has my heart and soul. I'm a fangirl of hers, so I'm really excited to see her leading this film. And
It's got a good cast.
Yeah,
Janelle James too, and Cat Williams.
It's got a good team, so I'm interested. I hope that the film does well. And the second one that has my eye is Love Me. It's starring Kristen Stewart and Steven Yeun. So just those two.
I've heard very mixed things about that movie.
Really? You've already heard things like that?
That was a festival movie, I think at TIFF. And I've heard like either people really, really liked it or people didn't understand it at all.
Oh, okay.
So one of those kind of movies. But
either way, I like the two of them. And I
do
feel
love
like the
the two of them,
combo is
too.
interesting.
Could be interesting. Vinny, anything in January?
I'm gonna be real. No. I'm like maybe interested in Wolfman, but like I don't have high hopes for it.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. Nothing major that sticks out to me in January. February, things open up a little bit more. We have Love Hurts, which is a really interesting, starring two leads that are both Oscar winners that were not in the spotlight and then became part of the spotlight because they're Oscar wins with Ke Huy Quan and Ariana DeBose. Then we also have Hard Eyes, which is written by Christopher Landon, who did the Scream movies. So that's another movie. Another Bridget Jones film with Renee Zellweger, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Leo Woodall, Hugh Grant, Colin Firth, all returning. Captain America: Brave New World. This is the first Captain America-led movie with Anthony Mackie. Harrison Ford is playing the Red Hulk in that, and Giancarlo Esposito is also in that movie. The Gorge, which is directed by Scott Derrickson, who previously did Sinister and the original Doctor Strange movie. Anya Taylor-Joy, Miles Teller, Sigourney Weaver. That's going to be an Apple movie that comes out. The Monkey, which is Osgood Perkins' follow-up to Longlegs, starring Theo James, Tatiana Maslany, and Elijah Wood. Cleaner is another one directed by Martin Campbell, starring Clive Owen and Daisy Ridley. Last Breath, Shimu Liu, Woody Harrelson, based on a true story. The Legend of Ochi is an A24 film with Helena Zengel and Finn Wolfhard and Emily Watson, Willem Dafoe. those are the big ones in February. Anything sticking out? Vinny, we'll start with you this time around.
Yeah, actually, I have a lot that I want to see in February compared to January. Let's start off The Monkey. I really liked Longlegs. I'm very curious what Osgood Perkins is now going to do after the hype that was Longlegs, because Longlegs was acclaimed. There was so much hype around it. Everyone was talking about it. Excuse me, sorry. And I'm curious because prior to that, he didn't really have a crazy filmography. Not at all. I think I haven't seen anything, but I've heard mixed to bad things about all the films that came prior. So I'm curious. I don't know if, Longlegs was a one-hit wonder or not. Captain America Brave New World, as a Marvel fan, Marvel's been really dry. We had Deadpool that kind of revived it, but then again, it was Deadpool, so it's a little different than these grounded characters that were interacting within the MCU. Curious because it feels like Marvel's at this point where they're trying to rebrand and they're trying to say like, okay, we had a streak of some bad things, but now we're going back to the serious. We're going back to the gritty. Same with Thunderbolts, right? But that's for later this year. And I'm curious. I am curious. I don't have high hopes, but I will be seeing it. And probably my most anticipated for January is The Legend of Ochi. This film looks so whimsy. It looks so creative. This is what I want from films. I want stuff that is new and original and cool. And this looks like it is about to be that. And this is a brand new director, Isaiah Saxon. So I'm curious what he's going to do.
Yeah, Legend of Ochi is the one for me that stands out. I mean, we all are A24 fans here. It's also an Agbo movie, which is the Russo Brothers production company, and I love them as filmmakers and as storytellers. So excited to see that they are backing this movie, and to see them and A24 team up is exciting. Obviously, as a Marvel nerd, like, I am curious as well with Captain America. Captain America: The Winter Soldier to me is the most serious MCU movie ever.
Yeah.
It feels like a Cold War thriller, and my biggest question is, and we discussed this, can Anthony Mackie lead a movie? I think he's a talented actor. There's a lot of pressure on him. Harrison Ford seemed to have a lot of fun with this movie, so excited and interested to see what happens with that. And I just watched the trailer the other day for The Gorge. Looks interesting. I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I really, really do. I think I want to see her in more things. Miles Teller has kind of also been off the map for a little bit, so interested to see the dynamic between him and Anya Taylor-Joy. And then Scott Derrickson is a really unique director, so getting to see him do something that's like a little bit higher budget, but it's also original, I think is going to be cool. It's like a thriller, but also has a sci-fi element to it. So those are the big ones in February for me. Liz, is there anything that sticks out to you?
I only have one that I have any interest really in right now, and it's The Monkey. Same reasons as Vinny. I'm just really interested to see what Oz does with his second follow-up to such a big, like, huge film like Longlegs.
Yeah, makes sense. March, things get a little more interesting because the month opens up with a former Oscar winner's very highly anticipated follow-up to He hasn't had a movie since Parasite, right? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, Parasite was his last one.
Which was in 2019. Bong Joon-ho's follow-up, Mickey 17. This movie has had a bunch of things about it. It's been I know they had reshoots. They changed dates like 3 different times. They positioned it originally in the beginning of the year, then they pushed it back to March. An insane cast: Robert Pattinson, Naomi Ackie, Stephen Yeun, Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo. Other films coming out that month, you have Black Bag, which is Steven Soderbergh's film coming out. Novocaine, another movie that's been playing a lot ahead of a lot of movies I've been seeing recently. The Electric State, Opus, the highly talked about Snow White, Alto Nights, The Friend, Magazine Dreams, The Woman in the Yard, and of course, Liz's most anticipated movie of the year, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip. So, I mean, I discussed Mickey 17 a little bit. I'll give room for one of you guys because I'm sure it's higher on your guys' list. I'm interested in Alto Nights for the fact that It is a movie. It is the first movie that when David Zaslav, the new CEO of Warner Brothers, came in, that he greenlit. And they said that it was a very much throwback to old school gangster movies, which scares me, but it also interests me. And it's De Niro playing, I believe it's twin brothers. And at his age, that's an interesting concept in and of itself. I think Barry Levinson is a talented director, and Cosmo Jarvis is in this movie. And I loved him in Shogun, and it's a higher profile thing for him. So that's one I'm interested in. Otherwise, Electric State, again, I love the Russo brothers. It's a high profile, high budget movie that Netflix has been discussing. Mickey 17 obviously is on my list. And then Black Bag. I mean, Soderbergh is a very hit or miss director for me, but I could never categorize any of his movies necessarily as bad. And I think the cast for that movie is really interesting with Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender and Pierce Brosnan. So, March is a heavier month once we get through February, in my opinion. Liz, what are you thinking?
So I have 3 that are pretty big standouts for me. Obviously, Mickey 17 is a big one. But then one that we didn't talk about yet is an A24 Opus. Fully because I want to see Io in a film away from the bear. I think that she has enough talent. She has proved herself, and I hope that she kills this film. So that one has my eye, and I actually am very interested to see Snow White.
Oh, obviously.
Fully because it's honestly been a trash of a marketing campaign, and I'm interested to see though if the film holds its own. I mean, Greta is a writer on it, so I feel like the story is going to be a good one. They just need to keep Rachel Zegler quiet for the rest of marketing aspects.
The tough is, how do you not market a movie around your Snow White?
keep her in the back pocket for right now and let the movie just speak for itself. I think it's going to end up being really good. They just have had trash marketing. So if they can keep it a little bit quiet and just let the movie speak, I think they'll be okay. But those are the 3 I'm hyped for.
Vinny?
Yeah, so off the bat, like you mentioned, Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho is one of my favorite directors of all time. I think he's honestly one of the best directors that ever lived. From Memories to Murder to Parasite, even his weaker films like Okja are still incredible. And I am very excited what he does with this. He's done English-speaking films in the past with something like Snowpiercer. I mean, Robert Pattinson, I love that man. And I also Stephen Yeun and Toni Collette. It's great cast. So I'm very curious what he does. I think the scope of this is by far his biggest film yet. It's a sci-fi. I'm very curious. I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of faith. But yeah, that was really Black Bag. Also interested in, mostly for Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. I want to see them be scene partners. I think that is 2 of my favorite actors, and Soderbergh also a hit and miss director for me. But I also think, although I don't love all his films, he is one of the most creative directors, and so a director that's willing to experiment with the technology and just the medium of film. So I'm interested what he does there. And Opus, which wasn't on my radar until, Liz, you brought it up. I'm also in the same boat as you. I want to see Io in a big film like this. It's not just a TV production.
Yeah, Soderbergh's crazy. He's got 2 movies coming out within a 3-month period. Dude works.
Oh, he makes a lot of movies.
Yes, he's like the younger version of Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
I feel like just pumps out movies like it's crazy. That brings us through our first quarter of the year of 2025 in terms of film. Then we start to get to more big budget things. We start to get to more unique movies coming out. We started off with the Minecraft movie that a lot of people are talking about for a lot of different reasons. Freaky Tales, which is a Lionsgate movie. It's like an anthological sort of film with a lot of different stories happening at once. G20, a big budget action film with Viola Davis playing the President of the United States with a terrorist attack happening at the G20 summit. The Amateur, which is a spy thriller coming out with Rami Malek. Drop, which is a Blumhouse movie that I believe it's also the director of the Scream movies, Christopher Landon. Sinners, Ryan Coogler's next movie. The Wedding Banquet, an all Asian cast, a fun sort of romp with Lily Gladstone, Bowen Yang, Kelly Marie Tran. The Accountant 2 And we also have Until Dawn, which is a video game adaptation that's going to be directed by David F. Sandberg, who did the Shazam films, as well as Lights Out and Annabelle Creation. So a lot of interesting things in this month, a lot of different kind of vibes. I'll just start with, Sinners is one of my most anticipated movies of the year because I've never disliked any of Ryan Coogler's films. His collaboration with Michael B. Jordan is always so fascinating to me, and there's a lot of really impressive acting talent in that movie. I think Jack O'Connell is another incredibly underrated actor. Haley Steinfeld is one of my favorite up-and-coming stars. Delroy Lindo was my favorite part of probably my favorite modern Spike Lee movie, To Five Bloods. So interested to see what happens there. The Amateur is one that the trailer actually really sold me on it. Like to see Rami doing something a little bit different. Lawrence Fishburne's also in that film. Rachel Brosnahan. A lot of great acting talent there. Minecraft, for the obvious reasons, I feel like we're all going to say it because it could be the biggest train wreck of all time. And The Accountant 2, for the sole fact that the first movie was one of the biggest surprises for me of the 2010s. I love that film, and I think Ben Affleck is remarkable in that movie. I have no idea how they're going to follow it up, but Gavin O'Connor is another director that I want to see more of his work because I love all his films, especially Warrior and The Accountant. Like I said, caught me by surprise. So it's a bigger April, and those are some of the ones I'm highly anticipating. Liz, what about you?
Kind of on the same wave as you. The Accountant 2 definitely hit me the hardest, probably just because I really loved the first one. But sometimes follow-ups can be a hit and miss, so we'll see what happens.
Long time for the follow-up, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Either way, I'm excited to see it. G20, I'm really hyped for just fully because of Miss Davis herself. She can do no wrong. It could literally be the shittiest script ever, and she will come in and save the day. So whatever happens with this movie, I am seated and ready for her to take the reins. And then, honestly, a Minecraft movie, I had it on my anticipated list fully because I don't know what the hell they're doing or how they made this into a script. And I think it's going to be a new trend because there's also there's a future Sims movie coming out too eventually. And so I think we're going to start seeing these very interesting films that aren't necessarily about people coming out soon. So those are my hype ones.
Vinny.
Yeah. Minecraft. I spent half my life playing this video game. I was raised on Minecraft practically. I was like a complete Minecraft nerd for my entire life. I still play it. I will never. So seeing this trailer, it hurts. I wish they did something. If they really wanted to make a Minecraft movie, I wish they did it like the Mario movie where it's just fully animated. But that's why it is my most anticipated of April because I am so ready to hate this so much and probably laugh along the way, but not in a good way. Laughing at it and not with it. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the marketing is completely subversive and it's the next Parasite. But anyhow, moving on. The Amateur, I'm excited for Rami. That's really all I can say. But my seriously most anticipated of April is a film that we also share the same hype for, Sinners. That trailer is jaw-dropping. I am so excited. And they're not showing us a lot, which is good. But they're showing us just enough. The film looks beautiful. I'm excited to see Coogler outside of Marvel again. And Michael B. Jordan's return because we haven't seen him in a minute. Yeah. So
that's probably up to this point my most anticipated for the first 4 months would probably be Sinners.
Yeah.
But then we get to May. And May, for me personally, is the first month where every single weekend I will be seated in the theater. Every single weekend. Yeah. So we open up with the second Marvel film of the year, that is Thunderbolts. We have A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, which is a Kogonada-directed film, and it is Margot Robbie's follow-up to Barbie, highly anticipated. She'll be co-starring with Colin Farrell, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in this movie, Jodie Turner-Smith, Hamish Linklater. we have Golden, a Michel Gondry movie. It's been quite a while since we've seen Michel Gondry, and I believe that film, if I am not mistaken, is a coming-of-age musical that draws inspiration from Pharrell's early life, with a remarkable cast of characters that includes Kelvin Harrison Jr., Halle Bailey, Divine Joy Randolph coming off her Oscar win, Brian Tyree Henry, Quinta Brunson, Janelle Monáe, Tim Meadows, Anderson .Paak, Missy Elliott. Crazy cast on that film. Final Destination Bloodlines, if you're a huge fan of that franchise, and it's also the last performance of the late, great Tony Todd. Hurry Up Tomorrow, the Trey Edward Schultz Waves follow-up that stars The Weeknd, Jenna Ortega, and Barry Keoghan. What may very well be the final Mission Impossible movie, The Final Reckoning. The live-action Lilo and Stitch, Karate Kid Legends, which brings together Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, and The Life of Chuck, which is Mike Flanagan's theater film that won the Audience Award at TIFF in 2024. And it stars Tom Hiddleston, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Mark Hamill, Jacob Tremblay, Karen Gillan, and Nick Offerman. It is a drama. I've heard nothing but remarkable things about that movie. I'm going to gush about so many of these movies, so this is probably going to be our longest segment to this episode, and I'll go last because there's so many things I have to say. Vinny, we'll start with you for the month of May.
Yeah, again, this is another really great month. Thunderbolts, I'm very interested in. The trailer, I actually like the trailer. I do, because it seems like it's going to be dark and edgier than most Marvel films recently, but also, like, it's their version of Suicide Squad. So it has that whimsy to it. I'm curious if they hit the mark. This is going to be like, you gotta really hit that bullseye. This is going to be a hard one to hit the mark on, but based off the trailer, I have higher hopes than usual for Marvel and Disney. Mission Impossible, I'm interested in. I still think Fallout is my favorite by far.
Me too. That's my favorite too.
Yeah, the last one I thought was good. But I'm curious how they're gonna do the part 2 now. I'm just, all that. Lilo and Stitch, I am not that excited for, but I will be seeing it because. And the reason I'm not excited for it is because I love the original so much, and this, again, feels like a Disney live-action cash grab that's just taking all the life out of what was to make money on whatever this is going to be. Life of Chuck is one I am excited for. Mike Flanagan, love that guy. Oh, my God. Every single project I've seen from him has become among my favorites in the horror genre. And this is also, again, Mike Flanagan and his relationship with adapting Stephen King's material. I've never read the novella that Stephen King wrote of this. It is a newer one, but I am interested in how he adapts that because thus far he's been spot on with those Stephen King adaptations. So
yeah, Liz.
A big, bold, beautiful journey, obviously, because Margot, anything she does, I'll honestly see it. It could be trash on trash, and I will be excited for it. Also, Colin, after coming off of The Penguin, I think it's really going to be an interesting thing to see him on a film and like taking what he learned from television and putting it there because it's definitely two different mediums. I am excited for Golden, solely based on the cast. I think that they just have so many talented and creative people, not necessarily all actors, like Missy Elliott, Janelle Monáe. Obviously, she has been in other things, but like I think just to have this musical presence in the cast will give it more weight, and so I'm excited to see how they do. Hurry Up Tomorrow. Oh, God. I am worried. I am concerned, but I will be seeing this because I need to know why The Weeknd is being given another chance to do something with acting. The Idol was horrible, trash, needed to be canceled, and honestly, the world did cancel it. So I'm just shocked that he's coming back so soon with something new. But
he's also a screenwriting credit.
Yep.
I know, guys.
Co-write the script with Edward Schultz.
But then it's like Jenna Ortega, Barry, like those are good big names that are up and coming. So I don't know, maybe they were just getting a payout, but I'll be interested to see that. And then I actually am excited for Lilo and Stitch. It's one of my favorite like growing up movies. So as long as they don't like change the story, I mean, at the end of the day, live action is live action, and they kind of all suck at a certain level because it's not the original. But as long as they stick to it and give the homage that the original deserves, I will be content.
I mean, like I said, there is something I want to see every weekend, so I'll try to go as quick as possible. Thunderbolts for me is one that I didn't love the trailer as much as other people do, but I have so much hope for the fact that the creative team behind Beef is doing this movie. A Marvel movie with the creators of Beef is super interesting to me. Being led by Florence Pugh, obviously, you have Sebastian Stan, you have David Harbour, you have Wyatt Russell, real legit actors that are doing these characters, and they were all really stoked about the script. So that has me excited to lead off the summer movie season. A Big Bold Beautiful Journey, for the same reasons that Liz listed. I mean, Margot and Colin are two of my favorite talented people in the world, and getting to see them do a romantic fantasy film is really interesting to me. It has a hell of a supporting cast, a lot of great rising stars in that cast as well. Golden, Michel Gondry has not directed an American movie since 2011. And it is a blessing that we get to see him do something again. And it is, I mean, he made Eternal Sunshine, which to me is one of the most perfect movies ever made. And I think Pharrell is a very interesting person, and he does really interesting things with art. And the fact that they are going to adapt something that feels like a coming of age musical in the 70s in a setting like Virginia Beach that we don't see that much on screen is really interesting to me. Plus the fact that we get, a Divine Joy Randolph performance off the heels of The Holdovers, which is still one of my favorite movies the last couple of years. Super excited for that. Hurry Up Tomorrow, for all the same reasons Liz said. I hated The Idol. I really, really did. I still haven't seen Waves, but everyone tells me it's an unbelievable movie. And this is Trey Edward Schultz's follow-up, so you have to at least be anticipating that. Same reason with Vinny with Mission Impossible. Lilo and Stitch, here's my hope with it. Because I agree with the live action thing, it's always a problem. I am hoping that we get something closer to the live action Jungle Book with Lilo and Stitch, because the DNA, the skeleton is there for them to make a good movie, and they could still have flair of modernalities to it while not ruining the story. So a little bit of anticipation for that. I got to give a shout out to Karate Kid Legends because nobody else has. I watch Cobra Kai. I love Cobra Kai. This is them bringing it together. Jackie Chan is one of the most remarkable on-screen talents in the history of movie making. So getting to see him and Ralph do this, and also bringing in Ben Wang, who's like a great Asian rising star, is exciting to me. And Life of Chuck, same thing. Like winning the audience award at TIFF is nothing to sniff at. And Mike Flanagan has done so many talented things when it comes to film and television. A Stephen King novel, and Tom Hiddleston. I mean, I want him to get more opportunities outside of Marvel. And I think this is a great opportunity for him to really expand things now. So hell of a month in May to kick us off for the summer season until we move into June, which is a little bit of a weaker month. A lot, like less movies coming out as of right now. Again, the calendar can still change based on when we're recording this, but a lot of more franchise IP driven things. You have From the World of John Wick Ballerina, which is the spin-off film starring Ana de Armas. You have Elio, which is a Pixar film. You have How to Train Your Dragon live action. You have the 28 Years Later follow-up, the zombie franchise. You have F1, which is a $400 million movie from the director of Top Gun Maverick, starring Brad Pitt in the world of Formula One racing with him, Damson Idris, Kerry Condon, Javier Bardem. And then you have Megan 2.0, which is the follow-up to the AI horror thriller comedy Blumhouse movie. All very interesting choices this month. Liz definitely is going to hate this month, so we'll start with her.
There's literally only one film that I have any interest in, and it's 28 Years Later. I think they're just doing a really great job of like promoting this series and this follow-up. Yeah, that one I'm hyped for. I'm definitely going to see. Everything else I truly don't care about.
Okay. I'll go next really quick. I like John Wick a lot. I like Ana de Armas a lot. I'm nervous about this movie. There's been a lot of behind the scenes stuff with this movie that does not give me confidence. And I feel like they need to rely on Keanu, and I don't like that because Anna's a great talent. but I'm very worried about where they're going to go with that. So I'm moderately anticipating that one. 28 Years Later, I thought was one of the best trailers I've seen in like 10 years. And I've never seen any of the movies before, and it makes me want to immediately go back and watch them, which I plan on doing very soon. Alex Garland on the screenplay is awesome. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ray Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, Killian returning, Jodie Comer, insane cast. And F1 for the reason that they spent $400 million on this movie, and they literally just finished filming a week ago, and this movie comes out in 6 months. Brad Pitt is a hell of a talent. I love Top Gun Maverick. And they're doing a lot of the same technical things that they did on that movie for Formula One racing. So interested to see what that's going to be like. And that one is one that I can't wait to see on the big screen. And hopefully it just lives up to the price tag. Vinny, June, what do you think?
Yeah, I echo a lot of just that. I'm going to be seeing basically every film here. However, I'm not like so giddy about every film here. I'm really not that giddy about all of the films here, honestly. But I do have a good enough interest in all of them to the point where I will be seeing. Like John Wick, I am dedicated to that franchise. I'm going to be seeing it. Although, like I said, I agree with you. I'm not too hyped based on what I'm saying. Elio, I'm dedicated to Pixar, so I am interested. However, I'm also not too hyped because Pixar recently... Pixar makes very, 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 very good movies, but then there's also some that just kind of like fall under the radar,
especially
completely.
recently.
Yeah. How to Train Your Dragon, definitely a little bit more excited than the others because I'm a big fan of the animation, and this, compared to the Disney live actions, there's something that feels right about it. The trailer feels right.
Same director too.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. That excites me. That excites me. I did not know that. 28 Years Later, that's the top of the month for me. I echo the same thing. This is like, I'm excited. Danny Boyle, he's great. So, and also F1, I'm interested. I want to see where all that money went. So
seriously,
yeah,
so much money. All right, July, we get to the battle of the box office. This is going to be the month that determines the highest grossing film of 2025. In my honest opinion, we have Jurassic World Rebirth. We have an untitled Trey Parker film, which I can't wait to talk about. Superman, James Gunn's version of Superman, the Smurfs movie, which also could be a surprise box office film. The untitled I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel, and the Fantastic Four First Steps, Marvel's last movie of the year, and one of the most anticipated for what must be 10 years that they've been waiting to remake this film. I will start. I want to tell you guys about this untitled Trey Parker movie.
Yes, hit me with it.
No title, obviously. Here's the premise. Do we all know who Trey Parker is? Correct? One of the writers and creators of South Park.
Yes.
He co-wrote this script with a man named Vernon Chatman, and this film was produced by him, his partner Matt Stone, and Kendrick Lamar, who will also star in the movie.
Yeah.
The film will depict the past and present coming to a head when a young black man who is interning as a slave reenactor at a living history museum discovers that his white girlfriend's ancestors once owned his. It could be one of the funniest movies ever made. It is a Matt Stone and Trey Parker production, which means it is going to be in the vein of a South Park, but it's going to be live action, and Kendrick Lamar had everything to do with the creation of it. And he's been collaborating on this movie with them for years. I think it has a lot of potential. I'm excited to see it, but I'm a South Park fan. Superman, again, not a Superman fan necessarily. The Christopher Reeve documentary that I saw this year really changed my thought process on Superman as a symbol and as a hero. I love the first trailer. We talked about this movie on our third episode on the network about the casting of Lois Lane and Clark Kent with David Corn Sweat and Rachel Brosnahan, who were my picks and my hopes for the roles. Lot to be excited about with that. Jurassic World Rebirth, I mean, it's tough. This franchise doesn't have a lot left for me to milk out of it. Gareth Edwards is directing it, which I think is an interesting choice. And you have Jonathan Bailey. You have Mahershala, who's like one of I think you can make the argument he's the most talented actor on the planet. You have Scarlett Johansson leading it, first thing post Avengers that she's doing that's big budget. So I don't know, that might be the last Jurassic movie I could ever will myself to go see. But my most anticipated for the month is probably Fantastic Four. And it's because that teaser that leaked from Comic-Con gave me a real sense of how they wanted to basically do a Marvel movie in the vein of the Jetsons. And that is so interesting to me. And I'm just so interested to see the cast is unbelievable. I mean, Pedro, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Evan Moss Backrack as the first family, Paul Walter Hauser, Julia Garner, Ralph Ineson, John Malkovich, Natasha Lyonne. Like, the cast is insane. Marvel's been waiting to do a movie like this for such a long time. And Matt Shakman, who worked on Loki, is directing. So it's probably in my top 5 most anticipated for the year.
Wow.
So, Liz, you are not a big budget movie fan, but there are a lot of interesting big budget projects this month. So I am curious your thoughts on at least some of them.
Yeah, so like right off the bat, the film that catches my eye the most is the Trey Parker film, fully because of Kendrick. Like, I think he's one of the most talented and creative people we have today, and so I'm interested to see how that turns up. If I had to pick out of any of these big budget IP films, I would say Jurassic World I'm most excited for, just because like that's really the only franchise that I guess I follow in like essence.
Not even a little bit interested in Superman?
Not really. Like, I don't even know if I'll see it. I really like superheroes. To me are like been there, done that.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the Smurfs movie, I feel like we've had a million Smurf movies.
Rihanna, though, one of the lead voices.
I don't want her in a Smurfs movie. I want an album. I want an album. The Fantastic Four, I can appreciate the twist they're doing on it. I've just never been on the Fantastic Four bandwagon. I don't even know if I've actually ever seen any.
We got to get you to see Fantastic Four.
So those are my thoughts.
All right, Vinny.
Yeah, so Superman. I'm so excited for this film. I've talked about it on the podcast before. This film is bringing the true nature of Superman back. You know, he's not a messiah, he's not a god, he's a friend, and he's a symbol of hope. So I like that they're going silly. I like that they're going lighthearted. I like that they're returning back to the roots, and James Gunn feels like he understands the character. I am hesitant about it, I will say, because we've also talked about it on the podcast before. This is the big opening to the James Gunn DC extended universe after the fail that was the Snyderverse thing that happened. And there's some really, really, really big shoes to fill from everyone involved. However, it is my most excited. Also, the Trey Parker film, I did not know that was the concept. I knew that him and Kendrick were collaborating. That's up there. That sounds hilarious. And Kendrick is... I love Kendrick. I think he is one of the most talented musicians of our generation. And also, like, people don't realize that he collaborates with Dave Free on his music videos, and his music videos are incredible. They are
producing the movie.
Yeah. So creative. And then Fantastic Four, I am also very excited for.
All right, let's move into August. This one's a little weaker for me. We have the Naked Gun remake starring Liam Neeson. We have The Bad Guys 2, which is an animated franchise. Beneath the Storm, a survival thriller with Phoebe Denver, Whitney Peak, and Jaimon Hansu. Freakier Friday, Paul Thomas Anderson's The Battle of Bacton Cross. Nobody 2, which is a follow-up to the original film Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk. And Mercy, a sci-fi action film with Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. This is a weaker month for me. There's a lot of holes in this month that I think are going to get filled by other movies, so we'll eventually see. To me, the only weekend I'm going to be at the movies, and I might do a hell of a double feature, is August 8th with Freakier Friday and Paul Thomas Anderson's The Battle of Bacton Cross. I was 8 years old when Freaky Friday came out. It was very much a part of my childhood DNA. and getting to see Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis return for this with some other great actors. I mean, first of all, we get more Chad Michael Murray. Obviously, you got to love that. But Julia Butters is in this movie. Manny Jacinto is in this movie. So I'm interested to see it's getting obviously the full-fledged big theater release, which I hope we get with Princess Diaries 3 too. Like that's our DNA,
Yeah.
Liz. That's what we want. The Battle of Bacton Cross, though. Leo and Paul Thomas Anderson, Regina Hall, Sean Penn, Alana Haim, Tiana Taylor, Benicio. I mean, there's a lot of mystery with this movie. It's one that I don't know. It could Paul Thomas Anderson's another director. Like a lot of his stuff I really like, but you know, I wasn't the biggest Licorice Pizza fan. So it's like I don't know where it's gonna go. I'm interested in it. Liz, what say you?
Those are the only two that have my eye, and for the exact same sentiment as you. Freakier Friday, fully sentimental. I think that that's going to be a huge turnout at theaters just because people want to see how they're doing with the second one. And I'm a big Paul Tom Anderson fan. Again, I didn't like Licorice Pizza as much as other people, so I was a little disappointed, but I'm thinking because he gave himself a little bit more time between these that maybe he's coming back swinging.
It's possible. Vinny?
Yeah, I love PTA, so that's my most anticipated. Everything else kind of just, is what it is. I haven't seen Nobody One. I haven't seen The Bad Guys one, but I've also heard good things about both those films, so I will check those out, and maybe I will become excited for these sequels. Yeah.
Then we move into the fall. Again, a lot of these, when we start to get to the later part of the year, everybody, that's where there's a lot more holes. There's things that could still be filled in. A lot of movies will start to throw in some of those awards movies, or whether it be indies that get scooped up for distribution. But September's another weaker one for me. We have The Conjuring Last Rites. We have the Downton Abbey sequel, a New Era sequel, Him, which is a Monkey Paw production. We have The Bride, which is one of two Frankenstein adaptations coming to us in 2025. The same weekend as that, we have Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, obviously, and Saw 11. For me,
Wowza.
The Bride is the one, obviously. Christian Bale playing Frankenstein. I feel like we go in these really interesting stretches with Christian Bale where he just disappears, and I feel like it's been a while since I've seen him in anything. Maybe I'm misremembering. The last thing I remember him in is playing Gore the God Butcher in Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
And he's the best part of that movie. The movie sucks, but he's great in it. Him playing Frankenstein is something that I think is really interesting. I like Maggie Gyllenhaal as a director. I think Jessie Buckley is a really talented, underrated actress. And Maggie gets to direct her brother in this, which is also fun. So I'm hyped for The Bride, but it is not my most anticipated Frankenstein adaptation of the year either, which we'll get to later. But Vinny.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I really do feel the same way. Everything else of this month is like, it is, a lot of it just feels sequel-y, The Light of the World. Is that with...
I have no idea what that is.
Is that... Oh, okay. Never mind. Actually, I thought that was one of the Shafty brothers films. It is not.
It is not.
Oops. Hold on. We got to take a break.
Oh, we lost
the camera.
we lost the camera.
We lost Vinny's. All right. So do this. October's got some
Big hitters.
big hitters. Liz, I can't believe you didn't talk about Alexander and his horrible no good.
Stop it. The first one wasn't bad, but I did.
So long ago.
It was so long ago.
Like, does anyone remember it?
No, it was like a family movie, cute. Yeah.
I remember seeing it when I was like a child,
Mm-hmm.
and there was nothing to remember about it aside that I did see it.
We gotta fix your wire here.
I'm gonna
Did you finish your thought?
I was in the middle of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So picking up where we left off, Light of the World is not what I thought it was, so forget that. But the bride is the standout here. Very interested. Just Christian Bale and what he's gonna take on this. Also, like the setting of this film and taking, such a classic and putting it in this new light could be really interesting. I'm curious.
Have you seen any of Maggie Gyllenhaal's previous directed movies?
I don't think so. What else did she direct?
She did The Lost Daughter and The Kindergarten Teacher were the two. Have you seen either of them,
I've
Liz?
seen both.
Okay, I've only seen Lost Daughter, but I really liked Lost Daughter.
I love both of them. I'm super hyped for hers. I think she just has a really great eye, and I love that she has both her brother and her husband in this upcoming film that she's directing.
Peter Sarsgaard. It's very true. Is that your one for the month? Nothing else?
Yeah, that's literally it.
Yeah. So it's a weaker month. There's going to be a lot added that month, I think. October, though, it just jumps. Like then you got a lot of people positioning themselves. I mean, Lionsgate's positioning themselves the same weekend as Paramount, and Disney's got movies coming out. So let's run through it really quick. October 3rd, we have Michael, which is the Michael Jackson biopic. Roof Man, which is Derek Cianfrance's next movie. It's been a while since he directed. That film stars Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst, Ben Mendelsohn, Peter Dinklage, the insane cast: Yuzo Aduba, Juno Temple, and Lakeith Stanfield. Tron Ares, which is the follow-up to Tron Legacy. You have Animal Friends, which I believe is like an R-rated animation live-action hybrid comedy. The Black Phone 2, Aziz Ansari's Good Fortune, which stars himself, Keanu Reeves, Seth Rogen, Keke Palmer, and Sandra Oh. Mortal Kombat 2, and then the Colleen Hoover book adaptation, Regretting You, which is directed by The Fault in Our Stars director Josh Boone. That movie stars Allison Williams, Dave Franco, McKenna Grace, and Mason Timms. Lots to talk about this month. Liz, let's start with you.
Oh, fun. I'm excited to, as much as I'm over biopics, I am excited for the Michael film. Just because I think that they might do it justice, his story. I'm hoping they do. I'm also really excited to see Coleman Domingo continue his career and be in the spotlight. I think that he is a true talent as an actor, and he just should keep being in big starring roles in films. Second would be Roofman, just because I was talking about Channing Tatum before in another video that we filmed, and I'm excited to see if he can continue this new path in his career of playing not just like the good-looking leading man, and if he can start playing more dynamic characters. I also really love Kirsten Dunst. So that one I'm excited for. And then the final one, obviously, is Regretting You. I was a huge Fault in Our Stars fan, so I'm really excited that they have him directing it.
Did you read that book?
I have not, but I'm going to get it so that I can read it before it comes out. And I kind of love the partnership and relationship of Allison Williams and Dave Franco like partnering together on screen. I think that there would be an interesting dynamic.
Okay. Vinny?
Yeah, for me, nothing really stands out here except for Roofman because of Derek Cianfrance. I like his filmography, although I think Blue Valentine is a film where it's like, that's a depressing film. I know some people that hate that film. I really like it, actually. And same with The Place Beyond the Pines. That's a film that I think is very underrated. I also have to revisit them because it's been so long, but when I did watch it, I loved it. And I know some other people don't feel the same way, but I am excited because he has a very tight filmography. He doesn't make a lot of films. So yeah, Roofman for me.
Yeah, I like the juxtaposition with a lot of what's coming out in this month, like the different kinds of audiences. Michael is really high on my list because I saw Michael Jackson's This Is It in theaters when he was supposed to come back to music before his untimely passing. And I've always just been a massive Michael Jackson fan. But they need to tell this story the right way. They need to go through. He has a very unique life, a very unique experience. I've seen some footage of his nephew Jafar playing him, and he's got the chops in terms of the musical ability and the dancing and the singing, which is great. Now we got to see if he can act. Coleman as Joe Jackson is one of the best casting decisions of the last 15 years. And Nia Long is also great. Miles Teller's playing his attorney. So there's a lot there and John Logan did the screenplay, who's a great screenwriter. Same thing with you guys with Roofman. Place Beyond the Pines is such a unique movie. Blue Valentine is definitely depressing. That's putting it lightly. But a lot of his movies deal with these darker things. And Roofman's based on a true story. Like you said, Liz, Channing getting to do something different like this, I think is going to be really good for his career. There's always something interesting with the Tron movies for me because I really like the aesthetic of that like sort of cyberpunk thing. I don't trust Jared Leto at all to lead this movie. So that's what scares me. And also, I don't think Daft Punk is attached. And Daft Punk was a huge influence on Tron Legacy. So interested, but we'll see how that goes. And for I can't believe neither of you guys mentioned this, Mortal Kombat 2, because I love the video games. And the first movie is so fun. And we get to see Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. We get to see Johnny Cage in live action, which is awesome for me. So I'm excited for that. The first movie is really fun. It's very much in the vein of Mortal Kombat. And I like that they don't shy away from the murder. So I don't care. Mortal Kombat, it's on my list.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Moving to November. On November 7th, a hell of a trio of films with Predator Badlands, which is the follow-up to Prey. The following film in the Predator franchise after Prey, still same director and writer Dan Trachtenberg. The Running Man, which is a remake of, I believe, an 80s movie, which is directed by Edgar Wright. Glenn Powell's going to be leading that one. Yorgos Lanthimos' next film, Begonia. Now You See Me 3, Wicked for Good, and Zootopia 2. Really interesting month in November thus far. Vinny, let's start with you.
Yeah, so this actually gets me excited. So I liked Prey. I don't think it's like a outstanding film, but out of the Predator films, I think Prey did things that are very unique, and I think the action is among the best in any, honestly, out of like the sci-fi genre. Like what they were able to do, a lot of it is practical, a lot of it just feels gritty and grounded, which is the same feeling you get from the very first original one, and a feeling that was missing from everything that came after that, especially that really shitty Predator film. Was it Predator something in 2018 or 2019?
Are you talking about The Predator, which the Shane Black movie?
Oh my
yeah, it's
god,
a bad movie. It's a really bad movie.
That movie. So Prey was like really refreshing. Curious where he goes with this. Elle Fanning. So just based on Elle Fanning as an actress, I'm speculating that's going to be a different setting than the Native American setting that we had in Prey. The Running Man, super interesting. Obviously, Edgar Wright. This is another Stephen King adaptation, so I'm curious about that. And Yorgos Lanthimos, I'm so interested. Every film is always, even if you don't like it, like Kinds of Kindness, I know we all felt like, oh, it was good, but it wasn't like great. But still, like, I don't regret watching that movie. Like, that movie was so interesting that I think he's gonna bring again a very interesting take. And obviously Wicked, but I'll let Liz talk about that.
Yeah. Wicked. That is like literally the epitome of my entire 2025. I'm just going to be waiting for that film to come out, and I'm so excited. It's going to be perfect.
This is a great month for you.
Yeah, like it's going to win everything. And It should. No, I am fully confident that they're just going to kill it, and it's going to be a perfect ending to those two films. The other one that I'm like really excited for, obviously, is Yorgos. Just him and another partnership between Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. I'm interested. I hope it's a little bit better than Kinds of Kindness. Story-wise, at least, Kinds of Kindness was a wild trip, and really felt like Yorgos was just like, I want to do what I want to do now, since I've put out Poor Things, like killed the industry with how great I am. So I'm interested to see this one. I think he's just incredible, and I'm hyped for both those films.
Wicked is the obvious one for me. The first Wicked film was in my top 4 of the year, so I'm really looking forward to the follow-up, and they filmed them both together simultaneously, so they still had the spirit of obviously both movies within that set, so really excited for that. I never saw the original Running Man. I also didn't know it was a Stephen King adaptation, which is super interesting to me. It is literally, this is why I'm really excited for that film. It is basically the Hunger Games, it sounds like, set in 2025, and it's very dystopian. I want to see Glenn Powell do something different. I'm hoping he gets that with this. Josh Brolin, Michael Cera, William H. Macy, Amelia Jones, Katie O'Brien, like really weird and interesting cast. And it's Edgar Wright. And I really like some of Edgar Wright's movies. Some I think are not as great as others. But Baby Driver is still a movie to me that sits with me. And I think about it like once every few months because I love that movie so much. So that's another one that's up there for me. Begonia, it's a remake of a South Korean movie. I like that a lot of Yorgos's stories are original. So I'm a little bit more hesitant about that one. But I mean, again, obviously him and Emma have a hell of a partnership. For the rest of the month, here's a surprising one. I really like the Now You See Me movies. And I really like Jesse Eisenberg. And I like that cast, and I think they're fun. And I think it's original. I think it's a franchise that they built it from the ground up. You get Woody Harrelson's another guy I love. You get Daniel Radcliffe back. Dominic Sess is in this movie, who I loved in The Holdovers. Mark Ruffalo's back. The cast is crazy. Isla Fisher is back for this one. So Now You See Me 3 is also up there for me. And Zootopia was a really cute and fun Disney movie. So Zootopia 2 could be fun as well. And it's got Jason Bateman, who I adore. Let's go to December. We're at the end of the year. Isn't that crazy? We're in January of 2025. We're already in December of 2025. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 opens up the month on the 5th. Then we have a 2-week gap, which means, guys, there's going to be stuff there. So we'll eventually get to it. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Avatar Fire and Ash, better known as Avatar 3 from James Cameron. The SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. Anaconda, the new Anaconda film starring Jack Black, Paul Rudd, and Daniela Melchior. Sarah's Oil, which I don't know much about that film. Marty Supreme, which is Josh Safdie's biggest budgeted A24 movie ever, with Timothy Chalamet, Gwyneth Paltrow, Tyler, the Creator, Penn from Penn and Teller, Fran Drescher, crazy cast. And The Housemaid, which just began filming this week, a Paul Feig movie starring Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried, and Brandon Sklenar, which I believe is like a thriller type of movie. For me, the obvious answer is Avatar. I love the first 2 Avatar movies a lot. I think Avatar 2 is like my top 3 favorite movies of that year. Marty Supreme is another one because I love the Safdie's direction. This is the Safdie's broken up though, which is really sad. So I don't know how that's going to be. And I'm really interested because probably in this same month, though not dated yet, we're going to get Benny's movie in the same month with The Smashing Machine. And we're going 2 different directions. We're going Dwayne The Rock Johnson in a dramatic turn versus Timothy Chalamet, who is arguably the most talented working actor today. So it's going to be a crazy month, December. Marty Supreme, Avatar, those are my 2 for wrapping up December. Liz?
Definitely Marty Supreme. It's going to be a very interesting film to see. If they lean into like the comedy, that's the one weakness that I think Timothy has. I don't love when he's on when he's been on SNL, just because I don't know. I think his strength is with drama and realism. And so I'm interested to see if they have like any comedy in this. The other one that really stands out to me and I'm excited for is The Housemaid. I've heard that the book is incredible, and they're currently filming this actually right now, I think in Jersey.
They are.
Yeah, and so I like the like casting of Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried together. I think that they're gonna have some interesting stuff on screen.
Vinny.
Yeah, Marty Supreme all the way. Obviously, we have a lot of films that aren't dated yet, which I am excited for. Like you mentioned, The Smashing Machine. I'm interested to see the dichotomy between these two films. But Marty Supreme, the Safdie brothers they're such cool filmmakers. And Timothy and Tyler, the creator. I love Tyler.
Wild.
I love Tyler. And I'm seeing the behind the scenes, what has been leaked has looked really cool. I'm very curious what Tyler's going to do in this film. Very curious what Timmy's going to do with this film. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 for the memes. I didn't like the first one. I did not. But for the sake of, being a part of the generation where for some reason when we were growing up, everyone like obsessed over Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm interested. I'm probably not gonna like this one either, judging off of my like for the first one, which wasn't that much. But yeah, that's all.
All right, we've reached the end of the year. Quickly, there are some other movies that have not been given dates yet that maybe you guys know of, maybe you haven't. Are there any that we did not mention, Liz or Vinny, that stick out to you guys that you've heard about, that you've read about? I can start it off if you guys want, but Vinny, you seem like you have one ready on the topic.
I have a handful.
Yeah, as do I.
Go for it.
So, I mean, first off, Park Chan-wook, I love him as a filmmaker. He's doing a film called No Other Choice, which is based off a English written novel. But it's such an interesting, and this is what a Korean cast, but it's all I know of this novel is that it's based on a guy on a violent job hunt. So he's looking for a job, but it's going violent, it seems. So I'm very excited to see Park Chan-wook's take on this. Obviously, Frankenstein's Guillermo del Toro's, his take on that. I'm very curious. Who's playing is it Frankenstein? Jacob Elordi.
It is Jacob Elordi. It is. It was originally supposed to be Andrew Garfield, who it was recast to Jacob Elordi.
Okay, so curious on that. The Way of the Wind, Terrence Malick's Jesus film, I'm also very curious about. Terrence Malick, a lot of his films go very under the radar, and I think he wants it to be under the radar. Eddington, Ari Aster. Ari Aster was someone with Midsommar and Hereditary that absolutely shocked me, so very curious what he's going to do with that. And for me, highest to lowest, Spike Lee. I love Spike Lee as a director and filmmaker. However, I am hesitant on this because speaking of Park Chan-wook, the last film where he remade a foreign film was Old Boy. And I love Old Boy. I think that is one of my favorite movies. I hold that dear to my heart. Despite it being also one of the most disturbing movies ever, but it is so incredible. I'm hesitant. High and Low is one of the greatest Japanese films I've ever seen. I'm just very hesitant. I mean, the cast is great. Spike Lee's great. Ice Spice is going to be in it. I'm curious about that. Curious how Ice Spice is going to do. But, I'm just hesitant because Old Boy and his remake was dog shit. So we'll see.
Okay. There's a lot I want to see.
There's a lot.
That don't have dates.
Yeah.
But I'll go through them as quickly as possible. The Phoenician Scheme. It's a Wes Anderson movie. It's a Wes Anderson crime movie. It's also with some of your usual favorites and new favorites from more recent Wes movies like Scarlett Johansson and Tom Hanks, Benedict Cumberbatch, Bill Murray, Benicio del Toro. Riz Ahmed makes his debut, though, in Wes, which is so interesting to me because I think he is an unbelievable talent. And, I mean, Wes, no matter what Wes does, it's always going to be interesting, right? Frankenstein is another one for me because Guillermo was such an incredible filmmaker. Jacob as Frankenstein, as I said, same thing, could be really interesting, but the rest of the cast is so great. I mean, Oscar Isaac is playing Dr. Victor Frankenstein, you have Christoph Waltz, you have Mia Goth. It's a really, really interesting cast. And that movie's going to be a Netflix movie. Another Netflix, but Netflix is a crazy year next year. Noah Baumbach's movie. Adam Sandler, George Clooney, Noah Baumbach. Give it to me in my veins. Greta Gerwig, Billy Crudup, Laura Dern, Patrick Wilson. Oh my God. And he's one of my favorite filmmakers. I love Marriage Story. The Squid and the Whale is one of my favorite movies of all time. So really looking forward to that one. Die My Love, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson. Really interesting. Also Nick Nolte and Sissy Spacek and Lakeith Stanfield are in that film. It's a horror comedy. Lynn Ramsey is directing it. If you want to go on the other side of Robert Pattinson, what a year for him between Mickey 17, this movie, and Christopher Borgle's follow-up to Dream Scenario, which he'll be co-starring with Zendaya. It's called The Drama. So that'll be another interesting one coming out this year. Another filmmaker that's been off the radar because she hasn't made a movie in so long, Catherine Bigelow, has a White House thriller coming to Netflix starring Rebecca Ferguson, Jared Harris, Amina Nieves, Jason Clarke, Idris Elba, Anthony Ramos. I mean, this year is so stacked. Caught Stealing, Darren Aronofsky, Austin Butler, Regina King, Zoe Kravitz. What a front three plus Matt Smith, Liev Schreiber, and Bad Bunny. Sure, why not? Tafaro Unatai, who is a fantastic young actor who's in Reservation Dogs. Another movie he is doing that the trailer's already out, and it's probably going to be, spoiler alert for my most anticipated movies list, Warfare. What an unbelievable amount of young talent in one movie. With Alex Garland, who is co-writing that movie. So that's another one on my list. Oh, there's so many. I mean, The Materialists, that's Celine Song's follow-up. I'm a little more hesitant on that just because of the source material and the actors attached to it. There's so many that I need to stop, so I'll give one more. It is Havoc, which is Gareth Evans, who did The Raid, is going to be doing a hyper-violent movie starring Tom Hardy that has been in production for 3 years. Like, they were waiting to put this movie in the right place. It's confirmed. It's definitely coming out on Netflix in 2025. Boy, I can't wait for movies. I'm stoked. Liz is like losing her mind, like licking her fingers at how much is coming out.
I don't even know if there's any that you guys didn't name. I think one. Did you mention Luca's? After the Hunt. Luca, he has another one. I'm hyped. I hope that it's kind of in his same like realm. It's
what a cast though.
Yeah, what a cast, but it's like a taboo relationship kind of again about like a professor and a student. Which I think is just his wheelhouse, is like those very like you should not be touching relationships. So I think it's gonna do great. I feel like you named everything else that I would.
Sorry, I went.
No,
too
it's
hard.
okay. You went
Give
hard.
me some of the ones that I said that you're really excited for.
Celine Song, I actually think it's going to be great. I think that she is a strong writer, and in order to have a good vision, you need to be attached to your material, and she's just really great. So I'm interested to see that. Bigelow, I'm excited to see like what she comes back with. Also, I think that like White House thriller, it's probably going to be something that she's also comfortable with and that we've seen before, but maybe she'll up the ante. Who else? Also, wait a minute. I think that not on this list. I thought Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out. Happy Gilmore
2 is also coming out.
And that is not
dated
on
yet.
this list.
It's not dated yet.
But it is coming out
to Netflix this year.
And that may be one of my most anticipated.
I mean, it's a classic.
Films.
We also have, there's so many movies. We have Knives Out 3, which has a crazy cast. Oh, Liz doesn't really care. I don't know if this is confirmed because of filming and things, but we may get the Bruce Springsteen biopic this year. Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Check me out. I'm in the background. So
Vinny's in the movie somewhere. Ballad of a Small Player, which is Edward Berger's follow-up to Conclave, which stars Colin Farrell. The movie's going to be awesome. Chloe Zhao's follow-up. I mean, she did Eternals in between Nomadland, but she's got a movie coming. Linklater's got a movie coming.
There's a lot. I feel like some of these will get pushed, though, because there's too much coming. Because
there's too much coming.
Too much.
But what a fun year to be a movie fan.
A lot coming.
A lot we're excited to talk about. A lot we're excited to see. Let us know in the comments what are some of your most anticipated movies for the year. What are you guys thinking about with the movie calendar thus far? Where are you guys hoping some of these things get slotted for the ones we discussed at the very tail end? let us know. Just like give us like your top 3 of 2025 based on the calendar that we told you guys that you guys are excited for. We'll definitely keep that in consideration when we do reviews for this upcoming year. We're really excited for 2025. You guys can also follow us on all our social medias if you don't already. All that stuff is below me in the video and in the YouTube description. Give this video a like if you can, and subscribe to us here at the Culture Rate Media Network, because all these movies we covered, we're going to cover all of them this year. Just kidding. We would all die. Just signing off. I am Darian Scalamoni.
I'm Liz Seiko.
And I'm Vinny Albano.
Peace out, everybody.
This is The Culture.